Also announcing that CUNY and SUNY, starting March 19th, will move to a distance learning model. And both systems will be doing that. CUNY will help reduce the density in New York City. SUNY will help reduce the density in downstate New York. That's SUNY Purchase, it's Stony Brook, it's Westbury, et cetera. Downstate is where we have the highest density of cases now. So SUNY and CUNY closing March 19th, thereabouts. There are some different campuses, there may be some variability, but that will be a way to reduce density, and that is a good thing.
Hi guys, good afternoon, buenas tardes. I'm Cristian Benavides. Welcome to this week's edition of Cafecito. We have a really big show for you guys today, including that breaking news right off the top within the past 30 minutes, learning that CUNY and SUNY have canceled in-person classes beginning March 19th. Now, we are digesting all of that. We're going to have all the information about what that means. We're waiting for information from CUNY as far as a calendar for all the schools. This is something, again, that is just now developing. Now, prior to the announcement that, again, just happened, we had planned to have a show about why CUNY hadn't closed its campuses and transitioned into online learning while a lot of private universities here in the city were doing so. Let's take a listen to a piece that we aired yesterday or in the past couple of days about the reaction from CUNY students. Again, this piece is right before the breaking news that just happened, but I want you to get a sense of how people felt on CUNY's campus about this situation. We went to Hunter College. Let's take a listen. While many private universities in our area, like Columbia, Princeton, and now NYU, have already canceled classes or have planned to do classes remotely online due to the spread of coronavirus, CUNY, the largest public university in the city, with some 275,000 students, has not.
All they've doing has been posting online about corona. They've been sending emails. And they've been posting some posts around, but I don't think it's helpful ultimately just because how small the space is and how much students they're fitting inside it.
Which has left some students wondering why.
It's just safer for everybody to close the schools down in the CUNY system because everybody uses the MTA, everybody uses the buses.
It's just not safe for all of us to be going to school like this in such a big city. Every day where we're traveling so much, there's so much chance to actually get it.
At Columbia, where they have canceled classes Monday and Tuesday and have moved to online classes for the rest of the week, students were relieved.
I think it makes a lot of sense because Columbia is such an open campus and people are likely to get it. But I also think that, I don't know, it's frustrating learning online, but I think it makes sense as like a reaction from the school.
There's still a little uncertainty as to how long we will be working in this remote classes situation. So I think that is causing some anxiety amongst the student body. But overall, I think like institutionally, we're coping pretty well.
CUNY overall, by the way, has 275,000 students. The cancellation, or rather the transition to online learning, comes after a student at the John Jay College of Criminal Justice was found to have tested positive for coronavirus. I'm going to introduce our panel today. We got a big panel, a lot of guests here. Carlos Calzadilla Palacio, who's a student at John Jay. We also have Anthony Jimenez from LaGuardia Community College, Stacy Carrillo, also from LaGuardia Community College, and Timothy Hunter. You're the chairperson of CUNY University Student Senate. You guys sent a letter addressed to the governor to shut down the schools. Now, I'm going to shut down CUNY and transition to online learning. I'm going to begin with you, Carlos, because you guys, John Jay College had a student that tested positive for coronavirus. First of all, how do you feel and what do you think about the response that you've seen from CUNY?
Yeah, well, first of all, I mean, that news came yesterday, and they actually closed the school for today. I mean, it's causing an incredible amount of anxiety at the school. As a matter of fact, students were already, alongside another student, actually, Jessica Rosario, were planning an action, a demonstration to call on CUNY to close down the school. And now this new development just makes it clear the importance of CUNY actually making sure that students are safe. And of course, it's rocking the John Jay community. I mean, it's a very scary moment, and I think that the school cannot wait until the 19th. It cannot be a temporary closing of the school today. It should be throughout the rest of the school year.
You think it should be immediate?
Absolutely, it needs to be immediate.
Okay. Now, Anthony, you recorded a video, and in this video, you were in a bathroom.
Yes.
At LaGuardia Community College. I'm going to let you tell the story. I'm also going to, after you tell the story, just say what CUNY had to say about that, because we do want to be fair and we want to hear what they had to say. But just tell us about this video that you took.
Okay, well, you know, it's no shocker to any CUNY student that it's a common occurrence that you walk into a bathroom and it's missing some sort of key supply, whether it's soap or toilet paper. Something is usually missing when you walk into a bathroom if you spend all day at a CUNY school. So I just wanted to highlight the fact that public officials have told us that we should avoid large crowds and we should wash our hands often, but CUNY is failing on a regular basis to provide that for their students. And it was really bothering to me. I mean, you mentioned how private schools have closed their doors, but their students and the families of their students are a lot less likely to have to deal with some of the real-world impact of a coronavirus, like a lack of job security or a lack of health insurance.
Yeah, I wonder if you can just kind of touch on when you were hearing that private universities were closing or transitioning rather to online learning and CUNY was kind of holding its ground. What were you thinking?
Well, I thought it was really disappointing because I felt like the CUNY, the students of CUNY should be protected by their schools in the same way that these private institutions have taken steps to make sure that their students don't get the coronavirus.
Okay. Now, you, Stacy, you are a student and you also work at CUNY. So kind of just talk to me a little bit about what the sense is at LaGuardia Community College.
Well, I think that after he posted his video, I do want to say that there were a lot of posts online that LaGuardia was putting out where they did address the issue. They were, giving out the phone numbers of the janitorial department and all those things. But I think people are still scared, or still upset that we haven't closed the doors yet. I mean, it doesn't just affect the students. Like he said, it affects our parents, it affects our families, especially for people who don't have job security, who can't have the luxury of getting paid while not working if they do get sick. So
Yeah.
scary for everyone.
Yeah, and CUNY, in a statement they emailed to us, they kind of explained that they were trying to work as fast as they could to refill the soap and refill the hand sanitizer. But I'm sure this is no shock to you to go into a bathroom at one of the community colleges and find that there's not enough supplies.
Yeah, and especially for women, sometimes I'll go into the bathroom and there's no tampons, there's no pads available to girls. So that's for people who don't have the luxury of being able to pay for those products. They pay it into their tuition, and they should be able to come to school and feel safe and be able to go into the bathroom and be like, yeah, these things are here for me if I need it.
Timothy, talk to me about the letter that you guys sent. This was the CUNY student government asking for CUNY to shut down all of its schools and transition them to online learning. Why did you guys make that call?
So a big thing that we realized, and first I just want to commend the brave students that did come out here. There are students, and I have friends that are reluctant to leave their house right now. They have parents at home that live with them, siblings with pre-existing conditions. We're dealing with a lot of stressors, especially since we take mass transportation every single day. The mayor had said that we should avoid taking crowded public transit. How do you do that in New York City? And I think that the letter that we wanted to highlight is not only calling for the governor to close our schools, but also to increase, funding overall, because a lot of these things are systemic. There's a reason why, we don't have soap in our bathrooms. That's because the governor doesn't want to increase funding. And every single time there comes a time where these huge budgetary things happen, they want to shift the cost onto the backs of students. And that's just not right. And I think it's important that we continue to let, the government know that we shouldn't be taken seriously when we go viral, right? We need to be taken seriously right now. And I think the University Student Senate standpoint is that, the governor needs to show that he cares about CUNY students by funding our universities and also assisting in this transition. You can't just expect schools that don't have the funding to or have already in budget deficits to transition online without the adequate resources that they need.
Something that was really interesting, there was a petition. I don't know what it's at right now at last check. I think it was at Exactly, yeah, some 36,000 signatures. We obviously, here's a screenshot of it earlier in the day, but why was there a need for a petition, do you think, from CUNY students? We didn't see this with any of the private universities. So I'm going to start with you, Carlos, if you can just kind of tell me where that frustration was coming from. Also, reacting to Governor Cuomo finally making this announcement.
Well, I think this speaks to the larger issue of CUNY and private universities. The fact that CUNY is a majority working class school, the majority of students are commuters, take public transportation, and also on top of that, it's a majority students of color. So I think there's a real conversation needs to be had about the racial and class implications about the different responses to a public urban university and the private school. And the fact that it took so many people signing that petition, it takes students having to organize protests, putting ourselves at risk, because essentially what CUNY has done and what the governor and what the chancellor in terms of delaying this response is making students choose between their education and their lives. And that's not a choice any student should have to make. And not just students. You have professors who are at the age of a very risky age of dying from this virus. You have janitors. You have other workers on the campus that are being affected. It's not just students, it's our community. And the fact that the response was so late is very indicative of how CUNY has been neglected. And that needs to be changed. This was a crisis waiting to happen at this university.
And those online classes, again, beginning March 19th, we're getting exact numbers, right? We're waiting to get some information as to specifically when certain schools may close. We did see some comments, and when will this school close? When will that happen? All we know right now is that the transition to online learning will be beginning March 19th. So we are waiting to get those exact numbers. We're gonna have them for you on our newscast at 5 o'clock. Now, Anthony, I do wanna ask you, what's your reaction to CUNY announcing this today?
Yeah. Well, I thought that last week it was something that was the right choice, but now with the news of what happened at John Jay, it's a simple no-brainer because John Jay students and faculty travel between CUNY campuses. It's kind of inaccurate to say that this is just John Jay. This is the entire CUNY system at this point.
Yeah. And what was your reaction?
To it coming out right now?
Yeah.
Well, I'm still quite upset. I mean, we still have to go to class between now and then. I mean, if there's already students getting sick, what about the students who aren't showing symptoms? How would they know to stay home or to self-quarantine? They don't know. It's dangerous for a lot of people.
All right. And Timothy, I just want to get your final thoughts on all of this. This was obviously, something that I think, and I'll ask this question afterwards, but just let me get your final thoughts on this.
Well, I think a lot of members of the University Student Senate have reached out to me, representatives of John Jay, representatives of the CUNY Graduate Center. I think that the misinformation needs to stop, and I don't mind saying this now, but it's not just 46 people in New York City that have the coronavirus. That number is much larger, and it's probably not just one student. There's no testing. There's no way to know who's infected or who's not. People take the trains every single day. And I think it's important for us to realize that in this, the World Health Organization just declared it a pandemic. We need to take this seriously, and the governor needs to step his game up when it comes to public higher education. And that's my reaction. That will always be my reaction to this.
And I want to see if you guys can just raise your hands and kind of answer this question. Do you guys think CUNY would have closed today if there wasn't the kind of backlash that there was from the student body? I mean, if you guys could raise your hands, do you think that would have happened today without the student backlash?
No.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Guys, thank you so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate it.